Hi, I'm John Maxwell. Welcome to Beyond Success, a program of 12 roundtables on success and significance through intentional living. I'm excited about the opportunity ahead for you to learn, to interact, to take action, to grow. And today's session is on attitude. And I have a question for you. What determines in your life when you have a good day? Or a good week or a good year? I mean, what is it that kind of gauges that it was something good that was happening to you? Well, I can guarantee you it's not your circumstances and it's not your finances. I know a lot of people who are poor but very happy and have a great attitude. I know a lot of people that are rich and are really miserable. You don't even want to really be around them. And I can tell you that it's not the people around you that truly make you happy. My wife Margaret and I several years ago were doing a conference and we were in a Q&A period, and one of the ladies looked at Margaret and asked her the question, "Does John make you happy?" I'll never forget her response. She looked immediately back at the lady and said, No, he doesn't make me happy. And I looked at Margaret and I said, kind of explain yourself. Now, I don't know if you've ever asked somebody to explain themselves, but if you have, sometimes when they do that, when they explain themselves, you wish you really wouldn't have asked them to explain themselves. And as soon as I said, "Margaret, explain yourself to the audience here," she said, I realized in the first 6 months that John would never make me happy. And you can tell we're not going the right way. We're going downhill kind of fast. And then she said, because for the first 6 months of our marriage, that's exactly what I expected him to do, make me happy. I was teaching in school, and he was in his first pastorate, and I'd come home from school and say, "We'll have dinner together," and he'd call me from the hospital, and somebody had a wreck, and he wasn't going to be able to come home for dinner, or I was coming home, and I was having to grade papers, and stuff just kept getting in the way, and I kept saying, "He'll make me happy, he'll make me happy, he'll make me happy." And then about 6 months into the marriage, she said, I one day awakened myself and realized the only person that could make me happy is me. And then she said, the moment that I determined that it was my responsibility to make me happy, it was my responsibility to have the right attitude about me, she then looked at me and smiled and said, "And John has added immeasurably to my happiness." That was close, wasn't it? What Margaret was saying is what I want every one of us to understand, and that is that the only person that can control your attitude is you. You're in total control of it. And the world that you see right now is colored by the attitude that you have. And I tell people all the time, and this is exciting to me to share this with you, the fastest way for you to change your life is to change your attitude. I think all of us have times in our life where we say, I need to make a change in it. And when people come to me and talk to me about that, I look at them and I smile and I say, the biggest and the quickest way to change your entire life is to change the attitude you have. And I call my attitude the difference maker. And what I mean by that is the fact that attitude isn't everything, but it's the main thing. It's the thing that allows us to change the way we see others and the way we see ourselves. And when I talk about the fact that it's not everything, please understand, there are people who will tell you that everything is attitude, but it's not. I mean, attitude won't make up for incompetence. If you're incompetent, it's not going to help you keep your job just because you have a good attitude. I guess the good news is when you get fired, you'll still be happy. I don't know, but it isn't going to make up for some. It isn't going to make up for the lack of experience that you have in your life. But attitude is the one thing in your life that when you're close, it's going to put you over the top. I mean, just think about it for a moment. If you're going to hire two people and both of them had great experience, both of them had great skill level, but one had a great attitude, one had a poor attitude, who are you going to hire? You're going to hire the person with a good attitude. It was the difference maker. It gives you that positive edge in your life if it's a good attitude. Now, the great news that I have for you is that your attitude and my attitude is a choice. And you and I are responsible for that choice. And to be honest with you, I run into a lot of adults, they don't understand that. Somehow they think that the attitude that they have right now was given to them by someone else. Well, if you had my boss, you wouldn't like your job, you'd have a bad attitude. Or you lived with my spouse, you wouldn't have a good attitude. People don't give you a bad attitude. You give it to yourself, and you're responsible for it. When I was a little child, my favorite story as a little kid was the little engine that could. And it was all about this little engine that had to climb a big hill, and no one thought that engine had a chance, that little train, to get up to the top. But that little guy says, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. He's going chugging up that hill as good as he can. And after much effort and perseverance and some time, he gets to the top, and I thought I could. I thought I could. And as a little kid, I would just tell that story and read that story all the time, because I understood that within that story was an attitude that was a difference maker. So as I have studied successful people, they have 5 attitude traits that really do make up the difference in their life. One is they're just plain positive. What I mean by that is that they see things in a better perspective, in a better way, in a better light. And they say things in a better perspective, in a better way, in a better light than anyone else. I grew up in a home that was filled with positive attitude. My father, who is still alive at 95 and is still positive in life. It's amazing. I saw him the other day. He had a fall. He broke 6 ribs, went into some major rehab. And so I visited him during those times, but he was able finally to go to lunch with me. So I took him out to lunch. He's got his walker. He's sitting down across the table from me. And he's saying, John, I'm right now still in rehab. I've still got to have 24-hour care. But he leaned forward to me. He didn't want me to miss this. He said, I've got my walker here. And he said, what I want you to know, John, more than anything else is, I'm happy. And I looked at my father and I said to myself, his name's Melvin. I always want to be like Melvin. In spite of 24-hour care, 6 ribs broken, at the age of 95, he's still happy. You see, your attitude will control everything of how you see things and see life and see people and see yourself. Another trait of people that have really a good attitude is they're teachable. In my book, Sometimes You Win, Sometimes You Learn, I talk about a teachable spirit, which basically is a spirit of wanting to learn. A person that's teachable is always hungry, wants to learn. And so therefore, they're always ready to learn from anybody they're around, any situation, any experience. They have a teachable spirit. Thirdly, people with great attitudes are solution-focused. You tell me and show me a person with the right kind of an attitude, and here's what they know. There's always an answer. There's an answer. And they're going to find it, and they're going to figure it out. And they don't have it now, and that's okay, because they still believe there's always an answer. And that belief of always an answer allows them to be persistent and overcome obstacles and barriers. And they find opportunity, because what I discovered many times is that surrounding opportunity is all kind of problems and obstacles. Opportunity never stands alone with welcome arms saying, there's nothing to pay here, there's nothing to do here, just come, it's easy for you. There's always a price to pay and a barrier to climb over. Number 4, people with a great attitude are persistent. What I mean by that is the fact that they're never down. They're either up or they're getting up. What that means is they get knocked down, but they don't stay down. They're always ready to rise up and meet another day with a good attitude. And finally, I think that people with great attitude are grateful. They have what I call an attitude of gratitude. And what I mean by that is very simple, that they realize that God is their source, and that the things that they have in life are a blessing to them, and they look at them as a blessing. When our grandchildren were really small, we did a little Thanksgiving program, and my little grandson John, his part of the Thanksgiving program was to memorize some stuff on attitude and on gratitude and how he was grateful at Thanksgiving. He had 3 or 4 lines, and he was trying to get it, but he wasn't getting it really good. And finally came to me and said, Papa, he said, this gratitude stuff is exhausting. It's just exhausting. It's hard for me to know all this stuff. Well, it may be exhausting, but it's the only way to live, because it's the way for us to understand that every good and perfect gift comes from God and from others around us. You see, we cannot control our circumstances, but we can control our choices. And I would encourage you today, right now, at this moment, choose a positive attitude, because it's a difference maker. It's a difference maker for you. It's a difference maker for me. It's a difference maker for every person that's with you today at your round table. So now let's just take a moment and see what's coming up. You see, after each lesson, there will be a round table on that day's subject. For example, I just taught you on attitude, and so you're going to go into a round table where you're going to talk about attitude. And I want you to talk honestly about yourself. You're among friends, just, the good, the bad. Here's where my attitude really is good. Here's where my attitude's really bad. And as you're sitting in that round table, listen to others, because every person at that table has something that they're going to teach you. You're going to learn from each other and from each other's experiences. And as you're listening and as you're learning, I want you to choose what you're going to apply. What fits for my life? What do I need to take away from this round table discussion? And most important, take action. Because that's where change occurs. Change doesn't occur when I think about it or even when I talk about it. It's when I do it. All transformation is a result of action. So that's where change occurs. So be sure that at the end of the round table, there's something that you're going to do immediately that'll make your life a little bit better in this area of attitude. So enjoy today's round table.